All right, it is time for weekly reading wrap-up and recap. More words than are on that card. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you how my reading went last week. So this is going to be from my recap for the first official week of working on my currently reading books. I picked 5 titles last week out of the jars, which are all updated now, woohoo! And yeah, so I picked 5 titles, 3 fiction, 2 nonfiction, and I aimed to read 75 pages a day for a total of 375 pages a week. So that math doesn't quite track because it's 75 pages a day, 5 days out of the week. And I have to say, after my dress rehearsal week and this week, doing it 5 days out of the week is much, much better than trying to do it every day. It just allows for a little bit of flexibility, and it makes it a much more enjoyable for me. So I think given that I'm doing this a bit more long term than when I did this challenge in May, I think it's a really good choice. And and so let's get things started. So I'm going to share the from my least pages read to my most pages read per book, how things went. Okay, so I read the least amount of pages from Outline Alphabets 100 Complete Fonts by Dan X Solo. From this, I read 5 pages. Now, I am thrilled that I read 5 pages. My goal was actually 4, because this isn't so much reading as it is activitying, because I wanted to actually draw the alphabets that I saw, which I did. So here's a little show and tell for you. This one's Americana Outline. So this is a serif font. Has some really, I like the K a lot. I like the N. Had some trouble with the W. Sometimes if I had trouble with the letter, I did it twice. You can see it happens here. I did draw, it's very light, but I did draw a line to draw on. I didn't draw one for the height because with letters there's lots of different heights, especially with lowercase, and I didn't know what the specs were. So yeah, so that is the first one. Ooh, that Y was a little tricky. I loved doing the asterisks. Sometimes they had, they usually had the numbers, and sometimes they had some symbols as well. Well, that was a pretty good ampersand. I'm pretty happy with that. But it was really interesting to see the different elements. It's a pretty standard T, but I like it. The R is a little different. So it was really interesting to analyze, like, what are the different parts that are consistent to this font. This T feels very different, how it angles outward, than the rest of it. I don't see anything else. Oh no, the E. See how the E, it has an angle for the edges. So I found that really intellectually stimulating to think about as well as draw. And then this one's, oh, I can't pronounce it. Oh, maybe I'll write them in the description. This one's a very boxy font. So I got lots more letters on per line. I actually quite like the lowercase. The J is quite nice. K's are often really hard because they're very steep angles. This one was interesting. I actually think good Q. I like the Q. Again, the J is great too. For my family, we're all J's and S's. So J's and S's and R's I know really well. And then for me, with my name being Shannon, I know N's. N's are not. That N's pretty easy. That N's a little harder. N's are hard. W, X, Y, Z. Those are all can often be really challenging. The X is actually really good. X, you just follow the lines. That line's an extension of that line. That line's an extension of that line. So it's about getting the angles consistent. So there's that. This one is Aquarius Outline. This one felt very familiar, very collegiate-y, you know, especially the uppercase. The lowercase felt very less familiar. It had a great asterisk, again, and ampersand. Ampersands are a bit tough. You don't do them as outlines very often. There's lots of options. Yeah, K was it was tricky. Had to do it twice. It had this weird indent thing, which was consistent. There's often an indent or a one serif or one indent per letter. And then I did this one. This one had a thicker outline, so I used a marker. This is Arpad Outline. I quite like this. Thicker outline, and then thinner inside. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. Some really interesting letters here. Similar, the one indent on many of the letters. similar to the last one. And then the last one is Aster outline. This one's pretty similar to the first one. It feels a lot of attributes you have to a serif font. And then some of the letters were quite different, like the W having the extension here. That was quite different. I like the K a lot. The M is a very standard M. I got better at the S's as things went on. And this one I did the uppercase, or the lowercase that had an upper on one line, and lowercase that's all short on another, and then all lower on another, because I was running out of space. I can't remember what any of the different things are called for the heights and stuff like that. And yeah, so I'm thrilled that I did this. And I know I said in my last video I would share. I also am sharing on Instagram. I share sort of like a sort of on an angle image, usually per the day, and then I've been sharing in my stories like this sort of straight on, because it's not a square, so it's sort of hard to share. Anyway, so I'm thrilled that I did that. It was wonderful to do, wonderful to spend some time at the desk, which is like right here where I sit to vlog, and I had it clear for another reason, so as the week started, it was actually just perfect. And I watched Dark Shadows while I did them. I found Dark Shadows. I mentioned in my TV video about accidental DNFs, which I'll put up there if you're curious about what I accidentally DNF for TV. And I found Dark Shadows on Tubi. It went off Prime this summer, but it's on Tubi, which is a free streaming service, and it has some commercials, but it's like 2 minutes in the middle of the show. And it was a sort of the perfect, wonderful, sort of relaxing like time to just put on Dark Shadows and watch it, like, you know, mostly watch it in the background because I've seen hundreds of episodes at this point, and spend some time with an alphabet. So I'm thrilled. So it was 5 pages, but a huge win, a huge win. So I talked a lot about that, so I gotta go a little faster on the rest of the stuff. So yeah, so that was thrilling, absolutely thrilling. I also read 5 stories and 42 pages in this Edgar Allan Poe collection, and this one has been a bit tough. One, I realized pretty quickly that this copy is quite heavy, and the font is very small, and the white space is very minimal. So I did switch to reading it on Kindle. I'm following the sequence in this book because I did start with this book, and so I found like a collection of Edgar Allan Poe. I think most of his stuff is public domain, so I have that on my Kindle, and so I just go to the next story and read it that way. It's been much better. I do find them dry. I haven't really enjoyed many of them. I thought I would really like The Black Cat. I found it quite distressing. It is horror, mostly. It's horror thriller, like, you know, speculative type stuff, but I found most of them pretty upsetting. So maybe it's just not good timing. I don't really read seasonally, so like it feels like it's good timing to read this because it's October, but it doesn't make too much of a difference to me. So yeah, so I did read 5, which was my goal for the week, so I'm happy about that, but I am a bit surprised that I'm not enjoying them as much as I thought I would. So, but we'll keep on keeping on. I have 175 pages left in this one. I think I've hit the halfway point because this is like, yeah, over 300, so I'm at the halfway point. Outline alphabets, I have 94 left, so there's a lot more for that one, but yeah, so I still made progress, so I'm happy about that. I read 73 pages of The Beach, so now I have 287 pages in a row. I read almost the exact same page count this week as last week, which I think last week I read 75 pages, so that's good to know. That's how much I read of this one a week. I am enjoying it a bit more than I expected. I really have no idea what's going to happen, so I'm kind of nervous for the characters, and I don't know like what's going on or what could happen or even what they want. So it's a very strange reading experience, but it has been good, and I have been happy to have this 2 weeks in a row. So maybe it'll happen 3 weeks in a row. I don't know. I'm filming this before I film my picks. So we'll see what happens. Last week I did get it 2 weeks in a row, so that was interesting. And yeah, so I have 287 pages left, so I'm not even halfway through. But it has been a better read than I expected. I feel there is a bit of a writing device that I'm not a fan of, but I don't notice it too much, so I think that's been okay. So we'll see what's going. This is a thriller-ish that was made into a film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tilda Swinton. So I do want to finish this by the end of the year because I am trying to read books that Tilda Swinton starred in the film. I'm not making much progress on that goal. I have a bunch of book to film goals, and that's one of them. Is actors that I'm following or directors that I'm following. I picked two of each, and she's one of the two actors. So the other is Idris Elba. And I watched Concrete Cowboy, which was based on a book, but I didn't know that at the time. That's on Netflix, at least here in Canada. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's about urban cowboys. And some of it was a bit tough, but overall I thought it was really good. And the soundtrack, like the music for it, is really good too. So I'm off topic. Okay, so next up, I read 92 pages of One Game at a Time, My Journey from Small Town Alberta to Hockey's Biggest Stage by, I meant to look up the pronunciation of his name, Harnarayan Singh. I am loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. So this is a memoir of someone he is one of the hosts of Hockey Night in Canada in Punjabi, and I read tons of it. I'm actually now more than halfway through, I think, and he's a wonderful storyteller, very optimistic, and I just, everything he talks about, I find interesting. I have only a passing, like, I don't even, as a Canadian, it feels really strange to say, like, I'm not a fan of hockey. I've tried a few times, but I watched one game and, like, they just got in, a fight happened very, very quickly, and, like, the ref was watching the fight. I'm like, shouldn't the ref be stopping the fight? So I don't know if that was just a one-of, or if that happens all the time, or if that's really a part of a game. I'm like, if I wanted to watch that, I would watch boxing or something. Anyway, so off topic. Anyway, so, but, there is, and especially because, okay, I'm not even going to go there in terms of who I would root for. Being from Toronto, I don't even want to say, because I was born in Montreal, so I'll just leave it there. But yeah, so I am enjoying this very much. Just really curious to see what's going to happen next, and great stories, and just wonderful. Like, it's just been a joy to read. So, and it's a good reminder for me in terms of memoir, because I tend to read memoirs that are focused on actors or people in the performing arts. And I guess being an announcer is, in a way, but this is sports based. Like, and I'm like, actually, I don't necessarily have to have a huge amount of knowledge of or interest in what the person is focused on, because people's lives are interesting. So that was really a really wonderful reminder of that. And I really look forward to continuing that. And now that I'm about halfway through, I feel very, very confident that I will make a good progress the next time that one ends up being picked. And then last up, we have The Female Man by Joanna Russ. This is a classic science fiction dystopic feminist work. And I read 121 pages, and I have 0 left. Yay! I finished a book. I'm so excited. I am reading this for my sci-fi, fantasy, and weird exploration. I actually won this copy from Anita Reads, who hosted a giveaway many, many years ago. Maybe just many years ago, maybe not many, many years ago, but it was a fair amount of time ago. It was wrapped up for a long time, which I knew afterwards felt like a mistake. Anything that was a gift or a giveaway win, I realized I shouldn't have wrapped up, but I'm digressing again. So this one, I will have to say, I figured out pretty early in the week that I wanted to aim for finishing this. This was one of my picks in my May, when I did a round of currently reading in May, and I did start it in April of this year, and each time I read it, I felt like I wasn't understanding a heck of a lot of it, and that is true. That was consistent for me throughout. I did feel like eventually it got to a point where I kind of understood what was going on, but generally speaking, I found it very confusing, and there were threads that they did come together, but I didn't see how they came together. Like, I felt like I missed stuff. It was pretty dry, and then sometimes it is very direct in exactly what it is saying. And sometimes it's a bit more subtle. So, and it definitely is a feminist work that reads through, I would say, throughout. And so I'm glad that I read it from that sense. But I feel not conflicted. I feel a little sad that I really, a lot of times, didn't actually understand what was going on. And I don't know, Like, I know that, like, I didn't read it in the ideal way, but I feel like maybe if I had taken notes and noted who the characters were, because sometimes, I think that when I eventually picked up on the fact that sometimes it's in first person and sometimes it isn't. So when it's not in first person, it's you're following a different character. Or is it always first person? I don't know. I found it really tough in terms of accessibility for comprehension. But that's okay, and that's actually one of the reasons why I decided that I was gonna just buckle down and finish it, because I knew that I was past the point of being able to understand it very well. So I figured I might as well finish it, and if that means go back and read it later, or if that means go and read people's interpretations of this, or even just read the Wikipedia page and then come to understand it a bit better, that's fine. I do feel like I don't have to understand something 100% on first read. So which is not, it's an approach. It's not everyone's approach, but it's an approach, and it's the approach that I decided to take with this one. So I'm thrilled about this. It's definitely one of my goals is to read my sci-fi, fantasy, and weird exploration titles. This is only the second I have read this year. I'm not doing so hot on those goals, but I think overall, if you're doing the math at home, the total was 333 pages. So I was 42 pages short of my 375 page goal, but I did hit 3 goals this week. I overshot my outline alphabets goal. I wanted 4 alphabets. I did 5. I read 5 Edgar Allan Poe stories. That was a goal within a goal. And then I finished The Female Man, so I'm happy about that. I also finished a couple other things that for goals that I don't even know if I don't want to see if I have them handy, because the time is keeping on ticking. The other one no, that's not what I read. Books read. I did finish the Gail Simone Red Sonja. This is the last letter I needed for my A to Z graphic novel and manga challenge. So now I've read 26 titles, one for each letter of the alphabet, which is one of my annual goals, and I'm really thrilled about that. And then I also read Sleepovers by Jacqueline Wilson. This is actually on my Those Books exploration, if you can believe it, which has many Jacqueline Wilson titles, of which I had read none. It's just I was not the age group for when it came out, and it was really quite good. It was quite touching, quite vulnerable, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. And I picked it up in addition to everything else that was my bonus read for the week, and I made it happen. It's a kid's book. It took 3 nights, very, very light reading, but it deals with social issues, and I think that's what she's known for. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so I finished like a whole bunch of goals this week. So even if I didn't get to all of those pages, I was 42 pages short. I was fine. I even in my reading journal, I actually, even though I didn't get to all the pages every day, so it's like, did I get to my pages? Yes, no, yes, no, 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 no. Did I feel behind? No, 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 no. So maybe something has shifted. I think anytime I achieved a goal, like the first day I did the alphabets, I felt amazing. When I finished this, I felt amazing. When I finished all the Poe stories, I felt amazing. So I was like, wow, it's okay to have non-numeric goals as well. And as I said, this is a longer project, and maybe next week I'll pick some fast reads. These were all slow. This was like 38 pages an hour. This was a page or 38 pages a minute. And this was a page a minute. This was 28 pages a minute. So it was really slow reading. Outline alphabets it takes me like 24 minutes to read a page. So, and then the one game at a time, I think, is 50 pages a minute. I've been saying an hour, 50 pages per hour, 50 pages per hour, 28 pages per hour, 38 pages per hour, 60 pages per hour, and outline alphabets is 2 pages per hour. So I had slower reads. 3 out of the 5 were slower. and that's fine. I hopefully in the end, as I said, it contributes to the larger goal. I finished a title. I made progress on a title. Both the Beat and the Edgar Allan Poe story, I got to 50%. And oh no, not quite with the Beat. One game at a time, and the Edgar Allan Poe, I got to 50%. I got over my block on the outline alphabets, feeling like, can I even do this? Yeah, not only can I do this, I had a great time. I had so much fun. Even if I don't pick it next week, it's very possible I will continue to work on the next alphabets because I love it. I love it. I love getting to the page and working on that and thinking about the letters and how they work together and the attributes that make the font. Oh, I love that. Love that stuff. So yeah, so I feel like it was a pretty good reading week overall, even though I didn't hit my number goal. I hit a lot of other goals. So that is how this week went. You guys will already know what I picked for next week. I don't know yet. I'm going to film that next. And fingers crossed, it's a nice selection of titles. And yeah, we will see how things go. The TBRs go up on Sundays later in the day because I film them same day. And then the weekly wrap-up recaps tend to go up on Mondays. So that's how things will go. Hopefully I'll have stuff Wednesdays and Fridays. I didn't always last week, and I have to plan that out a bit. I don't know when I'm filming or what I'm filming, so that's a problem I will solve at a later date. So, but recaps on Mondays and TBRs on Sundays, and yeah, so far things are going well. Fingers crossed that continues. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in a video soon. Thanks for watching.